Alright guys, I hope you're doing well. We're going to be checking out the XM4 with the burst fire mod today. So this is what the XM4 without it looks like and all the stats. And this is my build I'll be running for this particular video. So this is going to be making major buffs towards our firepower with a little bit of decrease towards our rate of fire overall and generally some handling issues, but that get buffed out by some of the other attachments we are running as well. Overall, I really like this build and this video was incredibly fun to make. Before we do continue on with the video though, let me know what guns you've been running in the comments down below. If you've got any crazy builds you've been running, anything you've been finding fun, and I'll feature it in the next build guide video that we do when we do a community section. Let's jump into the gameplay. Okay, we're going to be hopping into a standard Terminus map, and we're going to be fighting the boss on this. So we're going to go check that out now, and let's just hop in like I said. Okay, so this is the round 1 version of the gun. You're going to see that there is absolutely no recoil. We're still doing crazy damage as you would kind of expect. Honestly, the XM4 remains one of my favorite guns in the game to run. Pretty underrated, and honestly so far has been an incredible weapon since launch. I don't know if you guys remember one of my very first videos I did on the channel. One of the very first videos I did on the channel was actually covering the XM4, which you'll see on screen here. It was incredibly fun to make, and so far the gun has remained incredibly consistent, especially since the buffs that we got a few updates ago. So hopping in towards the end of the power step here, we're going to just be naturally progressing towards the boss and just seeing what different types of upgrades affect the gun. Is Pack-a-Punching worth it? What's it like at green and blue tier? We're going to go through each step and you guys are going to see it as we go through. So at the moment, so far the gun has been pretty consistent. I'm not really surprised. Again, it's basically the standard XM4 but just with a burst fire mod. It does remain incredibly accurate, I will say, and so far this has probably been some of the most headshots I've had this early on. You can see that the gun is generally really easy to control. The accuracy is almost perfect, honestly, and I have had absolutely no issue running this gun so far. Okay, so let's Pack-a-Punch the gun now, and obviously we are expecting this to do crazy damage because we are only on round 8. We also have it in green tier and the electric mod on it, or the lightning mod on it, and you guys would have seen that from my last video if you've checked it out. It is incredibly good. So I'm just gonna keep messing around with different fire rates at the moment. The damage so far super good. Again, we kind of expected this early on, so I'm not gonna overhype the weapon just yet, but I just want to show you what this looks like when you're kind of this early on and the kind of damage that you could be doing really early. So definitely worth, I think, investing into grabbing the 3-round burst if you haven't got it already, and if you're not running it, definitely consider doing it. And again, we're just going to keep progressing through the Easter egg and I'll join you guys in a second. Okay, so we have the gun in blue tier now, and we're probably going to move on to doing the multiphasic resonator step where we're going to go fight a ton of zombies. It should be pretty good. Before we do that though, I want to grab Deadshot and just see the kind of damage that we're going to do, the difference that it might have, see if it improves it drastically, if we can notice a change or anything like that. And here we go. So now we have Deadshot. We also get to fight a Mangler pretty luckily here. I am going to have to clear out some zombies before we do that though. And here we are. It's pretty much a 2 burst to kill the zombie, which is really solid. And then moving on to the multiphasic resonator step, we're going to do the first one and then I'll cut towards the end of it. Again, we're going to be taking care of these zombies really easy. If you guys have done the Easter egg steps, you know what we're doing here. But honestly, round 12, again, tier 2 Pack-a-Punch this time, and in blue rarity. The gun is really strong. It's really hard to tell the difference between this and the full auto, aside from the fact that the recoil is just incredible at the moment. Obviously, we are running that buffer stock that I think was released not too long ago necessarily, and it has really helped out with the accuracy and the recoil control, which I think is super good, especially for the XM4, which barely moved in the first place, but with this, it makes it even stronger. So we're going to move on to the last step now. Okay, and there we are. We got the amp munition, so we're just going to take the boat back, go build the wonder weapon, and continue on with the Easter egg steps. The next thing I want to showcase to you guys is the Nathan fight. I have a little bit of a suspicion that this gun won't be super good in the Nathan fight necessarily, just because generally I actually find that fight to be pretty difficult. It depends on what weapons you're using, obviously. If you've got something like an ASG or the GS45s, it's normally pretty simple, but I have a sneaking suspicion that it won't be super strong necessarily right away, but we'll just have to wait and see when we get into the boss fight. Okay, so we're gonna wait for the boss to obviously spawn. We just need to interact with the little valve there, as you saw. And now everything is gonna kick in. Like I said, I am a little bit suspicious that this gun probably won't be super solid. However, we have already got it in Pack-a-Punch tier 2. But the only concerns I kind of have are survivability in this area. For those that have played this step, you know that it can sometimes be easy to get caught out if you haven't really planned ahead very well. I'd say that I probably should have prepped with maybe getting speed cola, maybe upgrading my shields a little bit just to make sure I was fully ready to come in. But in all honesty, it ends up, I would say this probably will end up being completely fine. So we're going to clear out all of these zombies here and continue to fight through. And you're seeing here, like, it's doing pretty good damage, you know, like, it's really, really not bad. We've already wiped out almost half the health. Obviously, again, I know this isn't the GS45, I know it's not the ASG, but looking at an alternative here, so far, I would actually say that this is pretty fun to run. If I was going for nothing but headshots here, we probably do even more damage. And something you're actually going to notice through this video is that not aiming down the sights actually isn't that bad. If you don't aim down sights, you get some pretty good accuracy regardless, and I'll end up doing tons of damage even when not doing it. So definitely worth thinking about with this build in particular. And again, I think this is really worth running and just testing to see if you guys enjoy it. For me, I found this really fun as an XM4 enjoyer personally. I think it's really, really good, and I think the damage overall is definitely worth it. And with the 3-round burst, it reminds me a lot of like the M16, for instance, from some of the older games. So that was a Nathan fight, pretty simple, didn't really get into too many situations there that were risky. So now we're going to move on to the next step. Okay, so we are on round 26 now. We've done everything we need to do towards the boss fight end of things. We do need to make sure to get just one last perk, which is Speed Cola, but before we do, we get to fight the Amalgam and the Mangler. This is what it looks like on round 26. We have the gun in Legendary tier, we have it at Pack-a-Punch tier 3. It's already fully ready to go, so this at this point is one of the strongest that we're probably going to see it be. Super, super good and really, really strong. You can see we just completely take out that amalgamation there. We got a couple Manglers as well that are kind of waiting to get their turn, if you will, and we do need to make sure to pick up Speed Cola here though, because you imagine being in the boss fight with this slow of a reload, it would be terrible. But honestly, once we pick it up, that is not really much of a problem at all anymore. I kind of mentioned that at the beginning of the video, it's not a massive deal, so pretty good. And there we go, now we've got it. We're going to have crazy reload times, and obviously you can see just in general how much damage we're able to do. This gun is incredibly fun to run. I will say this, most guns do fall off probably around 40 to 45, and anything above that, these guns do fall off typically anyway, so don't expect these guns to carry you super, super high. That being said, I definitely think this gun is worth checking out regardless. I think it's still really good to use, and I think you'll have some pretty short-term and long-term success if you set yourself up correctly with the right build. I'm pretty excited to see how this gun performs overall. I think so far it's shown some promise. Like I said, the XM4 has been always kind of my reliable go-to weapon, so I'm really curious to see what kind of stuff we can do against the Patient 13 here. I do kind of wish I came in with a score streak, because it probably would have helped possibly wiping, which can happen really, really easy, but we'll see. It should be okay nonetheless, unless obviously I do something absolutely atrocious. So we can see we're doing about 2,000-ish damage to the boss, 1.8k to be exact, each time we shoot these weak points, depending on the range obviously as well, so it's not terrible. We can see we've already done a pretty decent, I'd say a decent bit of damage personally, and we can just kind of stay in these corners here, keep ourselves alive, keep letting him mainly deal with the zombies for us, actually, to be fair. So that should be popping any second. I want to be a bit careful here. There we go, all good. Keep moving across. And honestly, like, not even aiming in, this gun seems really decent, which is pretty nice. I'm happy with it so far. And we are still continuing to do a absolute boatload of damage, which is pretty good. Very nice. Cool. So, not bad. We are running a little bit low on our shield, so I am going to pick this up really quick. And obviously this phase can be a little bit awkward, so I'm just going to wait a second, then there we go. He's going to do a little swipe attack. He's going to clear some of them for me. We don't ever want this many zombies on us at any given time, because it could be a bit rough. That's where the Vulture Raid, you know, augment comes in. You can just see there the gas cloud is really, really effective at keeping zombies kind of away from where we are, which is really nice. Okay, and we're going to get pushed away a little bit here. Just want to be a bit careful not to accidentally take any hits we don't need to take. Just want to be careful not to accidentally stumble into anything bad here. There we go. He's already taken his own dudes out, so it's pretty good for us. And here we go. So we can just focus on this area. The arms section here, like this, is really easy. Really, really easy. And again, as long as we keep lining up the zombies, we will be fine. There you go. Look at that. Absolutely easy. Our arm's gone. Let's clear the zombie away from us for a second. Might need to pop Frenzied here. That might have been a bit of a unneeded pop in fairness, but, you know, here we are. Just back away slightly. Make sure that we're keeping alive as best we can. There we go, get a nice pop of the ammo mod there. Okay, and let's go grab the ammo on the floor. So I want to be really careful here not to die to the amalgam. It can happen. It's really easy. The amalgam can cause a lot of issues, funny enough. Which isn't really shocking to anyone who's played. Just going to move back. Throw that down. I want to focus the amalgam here really bad because the problem with the amalgam here is that because it can pull you and it has quite a lot of health, it can really disrupt your gameplay. Just going to slide across. Here we go again. There we go, we're all good. Keep him stopped from doing that for a second. Try and get him off the blue eyes phase if we can, ideally. Obviously this phase is quite difficult because of the amount of armored zombies we're going to be getting here. And here's the next amalgam, again making life just a little bit harder for us. But we can probably take him out if we get lucky. There he is, still chasing us a little bit here. Gonna move back. Just trying to pop these as best I can. Make my life a little bit easier. You can see the amalgam actually just gets completely destroyed by the boss, which is always good for us. And again, he gets completely destroyed by the boss. This is just revenge for every time this amalgam's caused me issues in fairness. So I'll take it. And we're going to move back here a little bit. And there we go. Very nice. Pop the eye there. I kind of want this dude to try to leave us alone a little bit. We might have failed this step here. We didn't. We just about prevent him from doing it. Very, very close though. And that's an issue. I have to dive into the water here. The amalgam honestly is probably the hardest part of this entire thing. Okay. That's kind of obnoxious, but I think that might have just actually helped us. We'll see. The amalgam kind of camping the stairs there is crazy. I'm not gonna lie. It's a little bit cheesy, but we get it in the end anyway. I can't believe I've just seen the amalgam doing that, just ladder camping and preventing me from getting back up towards the end of the boss fight. But yeah, I mean, not bad overall. I actually think that was really, really easy compared to some of the other runs I've had before. And yeah, if you guys found this video informative or fun in any way, just make sure you like, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take it easy, guys.